Maybe if I just stop wanting to work and just stop thinking that maybe it'll be easier, that I won't come into from one to the next, and sort of connecting Clint Eastwood to James Bond and John Wayne. I mean, like, it's retarded, but I can do it. We're going to come into the area of where can we actually end up with 2.9, and where can we end up with 3.1, because we don't need to end up with this, because that's 5 times 6. 1 times 1 will put you right in the center here. 5 times 6, why don't we go 1 and 5, A and E. 2 points, A and E, A and E. The only way to get the E is to get the A and a D. You put the A and the D together, you get the E. 3 point, 4 and 1, 1 and 5, 6, V. V in Roman numerals. 1 on this side, 1 on this side. When the 1 on this side comes in, it becomes a 4. When the 1 on this side comes in, it becomes a 6. Counts for both. You just put the V in the middle of the 4. Same numbers. So you don't want to put them together. 1 times 4, 1 plus 4 equals 5 and 4. 15 and 14 equal to 29. 1 and 5 equals 6. 1 and 4 equals 5. 2 and the light equals 3. 5 and 2, when the birth and 6 come in rotation. 5. And 9, when the birth comes through Venus and Jupiter. 2 and 5 through the heart. Now, it means absolutely nothing yet, and it won't ever mean anything other than the story I told you. A two-sided light, like a baton, and it runs through your arm, and it twists. You have the knight in shining armor. Would that not be your heart? Heart 52 plus 32 is the doorway, stamping of the heart. 32 plus 20 is 52. The heart of earth, E-A-R-T-H. The H in the front says heart. The H in the back says earth. The earth heart for soul. 1 heart, 52. 1 moon, 57. Plus 20. Reversed. 26 and 26. ZZ. 20 and 17. The queen and the transmission. Why am I talking about this? Is because number 73. Where do I get this? 2 and 5 equals 7. 6 and 1 equals 7. The 7th gate. 5 and 1, A and E. From A to E, the light of the moon. So what do? 7 times 3. Why? Because 7, we don't need to get to 7 anymore. That would be 0. This one would be 4. That would be blue. And the delta angle, moving the light from one way to the other way, or amplifying it. We can open the light going in this way. We can amplify it. This is the D. This is the angle. This is the D delta. If you put the D the other way, this way over here, there's one way of the D, and the other way of the D is this way. This way, we're talking about the center E of the D, because they're both sides, because it's the left side and the right side. It's the delta angle. So now we're going to take the D, and we're going to do this. And now the inside becomes 9/11. Inside here. This becomes your D over here. Because they're both number 4, your angle that you connect is right here. That's your bow tie. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 plus 3 is 10. Equals to 31. 31 plus 6, 37. 21 plus 16, 37. 16, 1 times 6, 1 plus 6 will equal 6 and 7. 31, 1 times 3, 1 plus 3 will equal 3 and 4. Do you know what these are? This is the size of the diameter of the moon and the word gold. DC of 76 is the bringer of the light inside of Nibiru, a diverted light. That's why the light of the sunshine we're getting right now is all off. It shouldn't, I think it's being filtered right now. 6 and 3 is 9, 7 and 4 is 11. 4, 7 in between is 5 and 6, captured 5 and 6. The heart is the knight in shining armor. Count the knight for 0, 8. Count the heart for 8. Count the moon For day, count the moon for 16 of the light. This is the night. The heart becomes the night. The moon becomes the day. How do I get these figures? Okay, gateway is 7, 3 times 16 plus the gateway, right? 3 times 16 is 48, plus the gateway, 1 and 6 is 7, equals 55, plus 2, plus 2. Heart or moon, soul or spirit, blue or red? Blue moon, red heart. R and B. Now we take the R and B and we're going to move over to, we're going to go over a couple of pages, see how far I can go back. Just give me a second. R and B. Well, we're just going to show you what R and B is. First of all, did you know that Pooh Bear, right? Did you know that Pooh Bear, B and R and B, red and blue, red and black, Pooh Bear, his actual name is Sanders. On his door it says Sanders, and one of the S's is backwards. Mr. Anderson, Pooh Bear because it's B and it's R. Be here. Be here on the Tigger, on the timer. Time. Time says ace time. Why? Because ME is the 5 and 13, and that's orange and pool. Clockwork orange is inside of this Pooh Bear. What color is Pooh Bear? Tigger, IT is 29, comes from 5 and 4. 1 times 4, 1 plus 4 equals 5 and 4. 5 by 4 is 20, plus 9 is 29, plus 6 equals 35. 35 is H. How do we know it's the best? Because it pays 35 for 1. That's your creation. 3 and 6 is your creation. 35 to 1. Your whole roulette board. That whole design is all about 35 to 1 and 17 to 1 the gateways. All of it. Pooh Bear and Tigger. Tigger, G-E-R, Ger, B-R, B, Bear. Gerbil, Gerber, Bear, German Bear, Black Bear, Black Ger. I'm not sure, but I'd have to play with that before it starts to talk to me. So we see Pooh Bear and Tigger have now come into play, okay, only because of the numbers, and they relate to the numbers, and because of roulette, where it pays 35 to 1, where the only H on the board, want me to show you where the H is on the board? The only H on the board is where you see the 2 reds on the outside of the 1 yellow. There is no other H on that board. Everything else is intertwined. The X's, they're all relationship to the Z. There's 1, 2 Z's that would be on the board. The N's, if you want to look for the letter N, you can look for the letter N. I think the only letter N and Z that come together, okay, is the N would come together right there in the middle. In the middle where the H is, where the only H can be. Let me show you this. Right here, right there in the middle where those 3 are. Every one of those is only what you can design. Only what you can design. And you know what you should take into the fact? Take into the fact that it's 2 holes here and 2 holes here and 2 holes in the center. If we were playing the game of pool, that's the way we would have to look at this equation of what we can do. And because there's 1, 1, 1, and we have to understand, are we allowed to connect red, with black or not? We have to go all the way across to continue the connection. And yes, we have to go all the way across, or we have to go through the heart. Going through the heart, the Z, okay, which becomes part of the heart, becomes the night. The N, which goes the other way, the H and I, okay, become the moon. 8 and 9, and they become the day. The N becomes the day, the Z becomes the heart of the night in relationship to the 16, 1 and 6 hours of the day to 8 hours of the night. 16 hours, 6 and 1, extra point, right? When you got the touchdown, land ho, man born, man on earth, communication all the time, touchdown, 10-4, CB code 23, 200 codes, but 100 and something are slashed. I've got just tons of Stuff mark. Is it information? I don't know. We got 4 fish. This fish swimming this way, this fish swimming this way. Since they swim towards each other, their nose comes together, they become one fish. This fish swims and this fish swims, but because this fish is swimming down, all of a sudden their mouths become their eyebrows. And this guy looks real mean. And now you got one fish with one big face. Or 4 fish. You put the fish this way. How do you differentiate? You see this fish going up towards this way. How come he doesn't have his mouth on this side the way this one did? Can you actually see the difference? I'm not quite sure, but these are the 4 fish swimming towards each other. Now, the thing is, we have to understand that only 2 of the fish, if we cut out the center here, right, only 2 of the fish can come together. Because look, I put all the space together here. There's only 1 in the corner. So now I want to move it back into the center. So either I remove these 2 fish, or I remove these 2 fish. I don't want just the bottom, and I don't want just the top, and I don't want just the side. So I remove 2 fish, and I put a line down this way. I put a line down this way, and I put a line down this way, and we only have one direction. Now all we have is this part left over from whatever the fish was before. What it could be now, I don't know. I don't know. This can just be the beginning of the tail to the next fish. Now we have the timer. We have the how can I say it? How can I say it? You see that all of a sudden, the fish is now the Magen David, where one becomes the bottom, one becomes the top, and the other 2 become the side. When you move something over from the center, when one thing takes up the center, okay, it breaks up. Either it becomes above or below, or one of the 2 sides becomes lopsided. If I put 5 over here, 1, 2, 3, 4, sorry, 4, there is no center row. These 2 become the center row. These 2 will create that stripe. But if I put 5, automatically this one is the center row. This one is the division between the 2 sides. Now I can spread these apart only over here. There was one other thing I wanted to show over here. Yes, and it was that. Because right now in my next design, this is what I'm going to be doing. 26, 29, and 28 only do this one time in numbers. They do it again at 52, they do it at 56, and they do it at 58. They do it at 78, the gateway. This becomes 78, the gateway. This becomes 84, gateway through Pluto into Neptune and Mars. This one becomes 87. 3 times 26 is 60 and 18 is 78. 3 by 29 is 60 and 27 is 87. They just reverse. 55, 55, 26, 29. The birth within Venus. The center of the left and right. And it comes through the moon in creation. R, 3 times 6, 3 plus 6. Is 18 and 9. 18 and 9 is 27. Comes from 36. 30 is 36. Red and red. 62. Swing back to Venus. 88. See the design over here that will come into effect? Now, I'm not sure if I came over properly, if I explained it. I just know there's so much. One of the things to know, again, the same result. This is the Monopoly board. I removed the trains. I removed B&O, and I removed reading. We don't need B&O and reading. And now we look. F and F. I is in between. 7 and 3 is Nibiru, the one pillar that separates us apart from the battery that's in the center that runs the 2. Some kind of battery. I don't know how it works. I don't know what it is. Why did I move it like this? Because this in the center is 8 by 8. That's your chessboard. In the first row of the chessboard is your kings and queens and all your knights men. But from the opposition, okay, you are from the board, you are in the 8th position. 1 and 8, A and H, you are the angel resident, owning the backbone. Both sides become 8 and 1 and 8 and 1, 36. The second row becomes 2 and 7 and 2 and 7. All the pawns are on 2 and 7. But in reality, from my king to your king, I'm 6 from you, face to face. I'll be on the 7, you'll be on the 8. I'm 6 away face to face. But with 7 and the gateway, I gobble you up, me against you. But if you moved and I moved and we played fair, you moved first as 1, I move as 2, you move as 3, I move as 4. So I moved 3 times, I am now on the 4th position. You moved 3 times, you are on the 4th position. The next move wins the game. Who went first? Do you see what I did in here? 3 and 4, 3 and 4, DC, how one king eats the other king. If a pawn should walk in, then a pawn has to move out of the way. We're just talking direct angles. This over here is the monopoly. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now, from this corner, the difference between this corner, and you can see the L, is this is go to jail, this is visiting jail, this is free parking, this is go. You can't go any further than the shopping centers. Okay, you're closed up on the borders, whatever they may mean, and there's no more trains at B&O Rail. The trains are at Pennsylvania and at Short Line over here, but the two worlds are separated. There's no train here. There's no train here. And if there was a train here, the train would only go to the same side. But there is no train here. How can there be a train? 8 is only the heaven. 9 is where you exist. 9 areas here, only 8 areas here. There's no trains. So far, 11, 11 have separated the two sides of 9 and 9. In between the sides of 9, you have 1 covered here, which is Marvin Gardens. You have 2 covered here, which I'm just assuming that this would be Pacific and this would be North Carolina, unless it's Pennsylvania and Pacific and North Carolina is over here. So you have 2 over here from the valid of 9. You have 1 over here from 8. So you now have 7 and 1 on this side. You now have 2 and 7 on this side. 1 and 7 and 2 and 7. 2 and 7 is the angle of your birth. B, G, win big. On this side over here, you lose 2. You lose 2 on this side of 7. This is 7 and 2, and this is 7 and 2. 2, 27, 7, and this one over here is 17. Why? Because over here there is no train. You only lose 1. In order to bring in the light, this is what it takes up. It takes up 2 here and 1 here, and on this side it takes up 1 here and 2 here. So out of the 17 that are over here, there's only 14 left. Okay? And those out of the 17 here, there's only 14 left. 14th letter is N, 14th letter is N. Here is your H and I that connect the two sides together that are well divided and understood through the artwork only. Raphael. Yes, we have Pooh Bear and Tigger and Igor and Donkey and Shrek. We have actors and stars. Believe it or not, just one other revelation that came in is I'm looking at the actors on the computer, and boom, 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 my heart starts to think. And I'm saying, well, these people know these actors, they like them, they go to the theater. So the secondary system, if the matrix is if there is a matrix that it's everybody's hooked up to a vibration, then the light gets split. What you see, you send over to your secondary mind, your other mind, your full capacity mind that reads everything that you see. So they get a stranglehold on your reality of all your feelings, not because they want to take you, but they want to learn how to make the perfect controlled human being. But it won't be a human being, obviously, but a perfectly controlled substance that no longer has certain elements in order for its survival, so it can't be interrupted with its quest. So we can't be interrupted with our quest, because the reality of everything is we need to have a quest, and the quest is survival forever. If there was an imaginary space, an imaginary opening for everybody, and nobody got in anybody's way, we need to build, to understand, to know, to knock down, to rebuild, to make sure we're not missing any angles. Because this whole thing is, if this game ends, if this creator goes down, this thing is gone for, this thing is just gone. This is just, you know, Raphael, 7286, and the self-creating organism. Thank you for watching.